I was raised in Kailua and 6 generations here in Hawaii. I'm always trying to heal the parts of my life that have been very painful and finally get into a place of acceptance. I'm from a family I've lost many members in my family to addictions, mostly alcohol, but then drugs are in the picture as well. Oh, my dear brother, he was handsome. He was really handsome, very talented, very broken in so many ways. We grew up with a father that was extremely sick from alcohol, and especially when we were in our teenage years, which is when we really needed to have a sense of a parent being there for you. And we never knew what to expect with him because it was like a Dr. Jekyll and a Mr. Hyde. So we are definitely the product of that. But I don't think we really got it about alcoholism or drug addiction as really being a mental health problem most of the times. I'm just glad that I was able, by God's grace, it was definitely God's grace that got me sober. I didn't like pills. I've never liked pills, but alcohol was my drug of choice. And my brother, oh boy, it was everything in between. Of course, we all went through the 60s too, so we did a lot of experimentation with different drugs, but the oxycodone is the one that took him out. He ran a post office. He was a head postmaster there. He was walking by this big truck that had drums of packages and stuff in it, and it just hit him. And he ended up hitting his head up against a brick wall. And after that, when he had a head injury, okay? And that's when he was introduced to that drug. And he also had congestive heart problems at the same time. I needed to come to resolution with my brother because we had a lot of issues. And I did, even before I got sober, I made my amends in my own way, which was just basically sending him a care package of all the wonderful things he loved from Hawaii. I'm trying to focus on that now that I did what I did to love him before he left this planet. I just wished I could have intervened because, first of all, he had that head injury, not his fault. I think it goes all the way back to keiki time. And you can talk to a lot of other families, the baby comes along and everybody's crazy about the baby, and then the next baby comes along and that other little baby is kind of a second thought, I think that dynamic is pretty prevalent in a lot of families. But he wouldn't let me in. He wouldn't let my mother in. We tried to be open with him, loving with him. He just didn't know how to accept love or to let us in. He was so damaged by his relationship with his father, and he resorted to all of the substance abuse that goes along with being really basically not facing your demons and trying to specifically work through it. So he was very damaged, and my mom and I just tried to keep on loving him no matter what, but he wouldn't let us in, just wouldn't let us in. Oh, it hurt my heart because I really, really love him. I can't go down the road of, blaming myself for not saving him. As we know in addiction, the only person that can really be saved is somebody that wants to be saved. And he was not willing to get any kind of emotional support or help. And I get it, being that I'm a recovered alcoholic. You don't want to work anything out. You just think that drink is going to take all that bad stuff away. And the next day you wake up to the same stuff. I mean, he had a lot of physical pain going on from that head injury. But once somebody is an addict to begin with and they get that drug, they're off to the races. He was ending up smoking it. And I think it's one of those things where you have to continue to take more before it does anything. And I just wish there's something I could have done to do a medical intervention, to get him into a hospital so they could take care of his congestive heart problem and get him off of the oxycodone Codone. So he died alone in a motel. That breaks my heart. You got to hit your bottom, whatever that looks like. Unfortunately, he hit a bottom that took him out. Yeah. You know, you may be in a family where you can't talk about your feelings, or your feelings don't seem to mean anything to an addicted parent or alcoholic father. Especially here in Hawaii, when I've grown up with people of so many different backgrounds, that some families, they don't talk about what's really going on. They just kind of go, psh. And the only way that people can really intervene is just by being honest and say, hey, we love you and we see you going down. I just wish there was something I could have done to save his life, you know? It's just sad because when you get in the rooms, you can really get the message. But if you're not in the rooms, you're still in society where there's so much judgment. And I think that keeps people that are addicted from really getting help. And not only that, they just want to feel better, and they want to feel better now. I mean, if you can't talk about it in the family, if you can't talk about it in the community, that's not a good thing. So I am so happy I feel so honored to be able to share my brother's story, as sad as it is and heartbreaking, in hopes that I can save somebody's life.